Hey everybody, how are you all doing this evening? How is everybody doing? I want to ask you a question. How do you feel when you um how do you feel about your child not being motivated to study? How does that make you feel? Do you want to learn how to actually motivate your child in a way that your child will be self-driven to study without even you reminding your child about studying? How would you feel when you go to your child's room and you see them studying and they've got a plan and they're really getting on with it? They're not waiting for you to remind them about studying. I mean, how's that going to make you feel? I'm sure you're going to feel great. I'm sure it's going to be less stressful for you. I'm going to share with you some ways to motivate your child who is either taking their GCSE exams or honestly any other exams. And I think for me, in my sharing with you how to motivate them, I'm going to be talking about two different types of motivation. And then you can find out where you see yourself fall into and what you can do to then share the other side of the motivation, which I'm going to be sharing. But before I go into that, my name is Fina Chichi Ikeji, and I am a parenting consultant, coach, and educator, and also a teens coach as well. I coach a lot of teenagers and teenagers. I've got a very big passion for teenagers, and I'm here to serve. So let's dive in. Let's just dive in. I think when I talk to lots of parents share with me how they're frustrated about their children not just getting it. Like they know their children have the potentials, they know their children are intelligent, but their children sometimes just seem to like they just can't be bothered about this. And we know how important these exams are. We took exams when we were younger. So it's very important. And we know it's a skill that helps them. But sometimes, I think sometimes we don't realize the type of motivation we're giving our children. And with the best of intentions, we give them these motivations. Sometimes the motivation works. So we think, okay, this type of motivation works. So I'm just going to continue it. And when I say it works, is that it leads them to be compliant. So they're compliant about what you've told them. Go and study this, that. They go and do it. But has it helped them? Has it transformed them? Has it built their self-drive for them to love the art of study? And that's the question. So I'm going to share what I've got here. That we have, for me, there are two types of motivation. And a lot of times, because one has worked, we think is the right motivation. So here are the two motivations. There's the positive motivation and there's the negative motivation. And a lot of times, the negative motivation doesn't really seem that it's negative at first because we probably used it in the past and it's worked because our children got up and went and studied. So we think, okay, I said this and they worked. They went and did their studying. Case closed. But there is, and that's what we're going to look at today, the difference between there's a negative motivation and a positive motivation. And you're going to see me look at my notes a few times because I've written out a few examples of some negative motivations that parents unintentionally use. Before I even dive into that, I want to share with you that when I talk about some things that parents unintentionally do, it comes from a very non-judgmental space. Every time that you come on this page, every time you come into this community or you're part of this community, you will always hear me talk about this space being non-judgmental. So even if I highlight some of the mistakes that we all make as parents, none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. And so it's so key that you're okay with it. Learning and unlearning and relearning. You hear me say a lot of that as well, because even for me as a parent, I am still on that learning and unlearning journey. And if we are not learning, unlearning, and relearning, then we're not really parenting in this journey effectively. Okay. So when I talk about some like the negative motivations that many parents use, please have it in your mind. It's very non-judgmental, and we just want to share the better ways to motivate our children because all of us want to motivate our children. All of us should be motivating our children, and all of us are equipped to actually motivate our children. So we just want to do it in the right way, and that's why I'm here today. Okay. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss out any of these great videos that I'm going to be sharing more and more with you in this coming year. Okay, let's dive straight in. I've got five different kind of motivations, or not five different motivations, but five negative motivations that are very, very commonly used. And I'm going to share with you like a positive vibe to it so that you can say the positive bits more than the negative bits. All right, you ready? Okay, let's go. The first one I have got here is this. Hear this one out. And if you recognize yourself in any of them, again, just write that down and you just decide, okay, this is not going to work anymore. I'm going to have to use the other one. All right? Okay. So this one says here, if you don't study, you will fail and your future will be ruined. And I tell you something about this negative motivation. There are some truths to it. If they don't study, they're not going to pass. They're going to fail. Okay. So there are some truths to it, but in the moment, we are seeking motivation, and that is not motivation. That is fear. It's almost like a pressure. It's a fear. It's not motivation. So rather than it motivate our children to go and study, they may just comply with you. They will obey you. They'll go study, but it will not help them build that self-drive that we want them to build. And as I said at the beginning of the video, just imagine your children where you don't have to remind them about studying. You don't have to chase them and ask them, have you done your homework? Have you done this? You just want them to be able to do it themselves. They're self-driven. They have a bigger why they need to do it, and they're determined and they're persistent and they're just arranging all their things, making their timetables, studying. That's something that all of us as parents will like, and that's what positive motivation can do. But negative motivation will not do that at all. Negative motivation will just is driven by fear. So yes, they may comply with you, but that is a very short-term stuff. Yes, they will study, but is that driving them to continue studying even when you're not there? And you want them to be able to have this skill where they're doing these things even when you are not around. Okay, so that's really, really key. So, but here's the positive motivation that you can say in that instance. Studying helps you to build priceless skills that is actually going to help you achieve your goals. And I know you've got these goals and you really want to get these goals. Guess what? Your studying skills will help you achieve them. And I just can't imagine to see you achieving those skills. I mean, it's going to be so beautiful. Then you just have to give them a vision. Oh, it's going to be so beautiful. You're going to be so proud of yourself. That's where the motivation comes. So you're giving them a visual already to be thinking about, oh, wow, yes, I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be graduating. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. That's what fuels them up to then study, because they now know that studying is not a waste of time. Studying is about building their skills. Do you see how the two motivation, do you see how they're so different? The negative motivation is focusing on if you don't study, you will fail. And the positive one is saying studying helps you build skills that will help you achieve your goals. That's more motivational. That's more forward looking. That's more encouraging. You haven't damaged their confidence. You haven't compared them. That is a better way to go. Okay, so that's number one. Number two I've got here is other kids are working so hard. Do you want to be left behind? Even as I say it, I'm feeling like it's a bit cringy because when you're doing that, you're comparing them. And comparison is not a motivational tool. Mm-mm. Instead, what comparison does, it actually makes them have low self-esteem because you're looking at others rather than looking at them. You're looking at what others are doing and comparing them to your child. Really lack of confidence in that. And also it can start to build resentment. You start to chip away from their self-drive. They're not like they can't be bothered because, oh, okay, she's just gonna say that again, or he's just gonna say that again. And I want us that when we're parenting, we need to be looking at the future. It's future minded. If you can stay future minded, you will watch the words of your mouth more in parenting. Okay. Now, the positive motivation to that is, I wrote that down here. Let's focus on your progress, because every step you're taking now is getting you closer to your personal best. Do you see how this comment is talking about them, themselves, the child? Your efforts, focus on your own progress. Because already they may even be having doubts already in their minds about what other people are doing versus what they're doing. So you're trying to bring them back in to focus on their own progress and remind them that every step that they take, every time they study, every time they choose to do their homework, every time they choose to revise, those things are getting them closer and closer to their personal best. And that's the key. And that's the positive motivation about it because you are giving them that vision. You're helping them with that skill of knowing that every step they take is getting them closer. Is getting them closer. That will help build their self-drive to keep on taking steps. Keep on taking steps. Keep on taking steps. Because it's getting them closer to those goals. They can believe those goals more because they're taking more and more steps that are leading to those goals. Do you see the difference again? Comparison, focusing on their personal best. Better choice. Okay. The third one I've got here is here, this one. If you don't work hard, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Whoa, that seems so final. What this statement does is that it makes them think that this one mistake of not studying hard will define the rest of their lives. And we know that that's not true. There's no need to put that fear in them because they will make mistakes in life. But we're not coddling them with the mistakes and saying, okay, yes, you will make mistakes. There are lessons to be learned. So rather than say, if you don't work hard, you'll regret it for the rest of your life, that's too much. Tell them that every effort they're putting in now, they're going to be proud of in the future. Again, do you see how we're making them think future minded? Every effort they put in now, they will be proud of it. You will be proud of it, is what you're telling your child. And then I added here, and I can't wait to see that proud moment that you have. It's not about me. It's not about us as parents. It's about them. We can't wait to see how proud your child will be. You're looking forward to it. There you build their confidence. They see that you believe in them. That's going to drive, that's going to build that self-drive in them. They're going to want to achieve that because they can see that belief you have in them. Even as I say so, my mind, I'm just so like, I'm looking for that. It motivates you yourself. If someone tells you that, won't you get up and go do some work and without even anyone reminding you? It's positive motivation. It makes a massive difference to the way you feel about yourself, the way that children feel about themselves. It's a win-win. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Number four, negative motivation I've got here is you're wasting your time doing nothing. Why can't you be more serious about your studies? Ouch. That's a big criticism out there. And yes, they could be wasting their time, but that's not the way to address it. They may be on their phones. That's not the way to address it. Because with that, what you're doing to that is that you're criticizing them. And criticism is not a great motivational tool at all. Instead, what criticism does is that it actually it actually leads to a lot of resentment because they just see you as someone who just criticizes them, nothing else. And when the time comes for you to then give proper advice, they don't trust your advice because the criticisms had kind of eroded a lot of trust that they had in you and in your words. I need to write that down actually. I'll listen to that again. Your criticisms erodes a lot of the trusts that they have for you. Okay, fantastic. Now, so the balance of it, the positive side of it is you can say, okay, because let's say, for example, they were on their phones and that's when you said they're wasting their time. You can tell them something like, do you know what? I'm a big fan of balance. I want to do some work and I want to rest. I want to do some work and I want to recharge and reset. That's fine. But balance is key. And balance is what is going to help you in life because you're going to do studying, you're going to do resting, but it's about balance. It's not about resting all day. It's not about watching all day. It's not about playing on your phone all day. There's got to be a healthy balance. And that's that balance that is going to help you. So, can we create a plan? And in that plan, put in that plan where you're going to study, where you're going to rest, where you're going to study, where you're going to watch Netflix. Let your plan be a mixture of it, and that will encourage you more. That's how to encourage your children. That's how to motivate your child rather than criticize your child. Okay? All right. And then the fifth one I've got here is this one is that your grades are going to embarrass us if you don't start working hard. That's a big ouch. Because what you're doing is that you're linking your child's self-worth to external validation. And that's a no-no. Your grades are going to embarrass us. What does his grades have to do with you? You should now focus it to him or her, saying that your grades are a measure of your own efforts. And so it matters the most that you put in your best in your efforts. It will pay off. And you will be the one to be proud of it. You will be the one to enjoy the progress. And that will help you with other skills as well. That's what you tell your child. Because I want us in our minds as we motivate our children to ask ourselves, how is this going to help them for now and for the future? Just want you to have that. How is it going to help them for now and in the future? And have you said it in a kinder way? Those two things will help you with your communication with your children. And in motivating your children, your communication is key. You can't scream at them, you can't yell at them, at the same time motivate them. Mm. So that's how we motivate our children. Our children are going to do well, but they're even going to do better when we can learn to motivate them in the right way. So I trust that this video has helped you in just weighing where you find yourself. You may find yourself doing some positive motivations. Well done, keep going. But if you find yourself that you have slipped in one of those negative motivations, then please just note that down and make a decision to be more positive. And that's case closed. So I am rooting for you as you motivate your child, and I'm rooting for you as well for your own success, your own prosperity, your own peace, your own purpose, and your own possibilities. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. Be I was gonna say be. Yeah, make sure you subscribe and follow this channel. And I'll be looking forward to more and more videos, spending more and more time with you in this community. Take care. God bless.